All right, everyone, we're going to be doing scale theory for the key of D major. Now, if you've watched the previous two videos, you should know kind of how this goes. If you haven't, I do have a video of C major and G major uploaded as well, so check those out. I'm making these videos for my students to have something to practice and work on during this time of quarantine when we're all kind of just sitting at home driving each other crazy. So today we're going to be doing the key of D major. For my students, don't forget that D major has two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. And if you can't remember how to find a sharp, you're going to look for whatever note it is that you're wanting to sharp. So let's say, for instance, C. So you'll find C, which is here. And to sharp it means to raise it a half step. So you're going to go up to the right to the black key. So that is C sharp. And this is F, and this is F sharp. So when we see those notes in our music, so when we see F and C, we know that we're going to play the accidental or black key instead of the white key because it is in our key signature, which I'm also working on getting a video of key signatures up, so please stay tuned for that. All right, I am using Alfred's Basic Piano Library Complete Book of Scales, Chords, Arpeggios, and Cadences. If you have one, you can follow along on page 22 and 23. If you don't have one, I have everything written out in shorthand for you to follow along with, just in case you don't have a book or if your note reading skills are not up to this level. Which if they're not, that's okay, nothing to worry about. We'll get there one day. Just keep working hard. And if you are one of my students, please send me a message and I will send you still copies of everything written out in shorthand, okay? All right, so we're gonna look at the scale. Which when we're looking at the scale, we're gonna be looking, at this portion right here. And this is what it looks like written out in shorthand. Don't forget that there is two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. All right, so we're gonna be starting with our right hand, and I'm going to use the D right above middle C. Starting with my right hand, finger 1 on D, and I'm going to say the letter name first. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Okay, I'm gonna do that again. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Now we're gonna go back down. To go back down, you just follow the finger numbers and go backwards. So D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D. Okay, now we're gonna go all the way up and back down without stopping. And I'll use finger numbers for you guys this time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. All right, so that is right hand D major scale. Now we're going to go to left hand, and I'm going to go to the D below middle C. And I'm going to put my pinky there, finger 5, and I'm going to go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. All right, we'll do that again. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. All right, now I'm going to go down, D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D. All right, and I'll do that with finger numbers this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that is left hand D major scale. Now, after you've played them a few times hands together, hands separately, try to play them hands together. Take your time, go one note at a time, say your letter names, and see if you can do it, all right? The next thing that we're going to learn are the D major triads. Remember, a triad is a group of 3 notes. It's going to be on page 23, that top line right here. This line is what we're going to be working on, okay? D major triads. Don't forget you have 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. So anytime you would play those notes, you're going to play the accidental or black key instead of the white key, okay? This is what it looks like written out in shorthand compared to notes right there. Now, if you play contemporary music, you're probably more used to seeing these chord symbols right here than individual notes. If you're classically trained, you may be a little more used to seeing these Roman numerals on the bottom. There's no really wrong way to read it. You can read either one. And remember, triads are groups of 3. We have F sharp and C sharp because we are in the key of D major. And we're going to go over some of these with our right hand. So this is our D. This is our E minor. This is our F sharp minor. This is our G. This is our A. This is our B minor. This is our C sharp diminished, and then back to D, okay? So you can take it as fast or as slow as you need to. Nothing wrong, honestly, for me, the more sharps or flats I add, the slower I have to take it just to make sure I don't skip anything. So we'll do that again. So this is the 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 diminished, back to the 1. All right, so that's what we just played right there, and we played that all with our right hand. You can play them with your left hand. We'll do that as well. D, E minor, F sharp minor, G, A, B, C sharp diminished, D. Okay, so those are our triads. Play those hands separately, up and down a few times. You can put them hands together. They're kind of fun to play, kind of fast if you can get them there. Don't worry about learning them perfectly the first time. As always with any of my videos, rewind, pause, work your way through something, listen to how I explain it again. Don't be afraid to rewind and listen to the same little section 2 or 3 times until you get it exactly where you'd like to have it. So take your time, be diligent, follow along, write it out, you know, in your own handwriting with the shorthand. That kind of helps the memory part a little bit too. And just remember to take your time. All right, so again, we just did D major triads, and that's what they look like shorthand. There we go. All right, the next thing we're going to go over are cadences. Remember, cadences are a set group of chords in a certain pattern. So this is the cadence that we're doing here. This is still page 23. The pattern that we're using is 1, 4, 1, 5, 7. So we're going to be playing this one. Back to the 1. This is what it looks like written out shorthand. Remember, in the key of D major, you have 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. All right, so we're gonna start with our right hand, which is right here. So we're gonna play our 1 chord, 4 chord, 1, 5, 7, 1. Right, I'm gonna back that out a little bit so you can see the paper and my fingers at the same time. All right, so we're gonna do 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, 1. D, F sharp A, D, G, B, D, F sharp A, C sharp, G, A, D, F sharp A. All right, and then we're gonna do that with our left hand. 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, 1. D, F sharp A, D, G, B, D, F sharp A, C sharp, G, A, D, F sharp A. 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, 1. These may take a minute to get used to doing, especially if you have smaller hands. If you need to modify some of the finger numbers, you can. Try not to if you can help it, but I know that some of my students are kind of young and their hands are a little bit smaller. All right, so you can practice those hands separately and then put them hands together. And that is your D major cadences. So that's what they look like written out shorthand. And then that's what they look like in the book on page 23. All right, the next thing that we're gonna go over are the D major arpeggios. Remember, in the key of D, you have F sharp and C sharp. Today, we're gonna be going over 2 octave arpeggios right there. This is what they look like in the book. And then this is what they look like written out in shorthand. All right, so the first one we're gonna be doing is our right hand. And we're gonna use fingers 1, 2, 3, and 5. So I'm gonna find D, and I'm just gonna do it a couple of times for you, and then we'll break it down. All right, D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A, D, A, F sharp, D, A, F sharp, D. All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. All right, so you can do these as fast or as slow as you need to. As you need until you're comfortable doing them. All right, and then we're going to go to our left hand. We're going to be using 5, 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to go down to the next octave down. So this is 2 Ds below middle C. Those are the 2 octave arpeggios. Now I do have a modified version for some of my younger students or for students who are writing songs or just want to play an extra version. Those are called hand over hand arpeggios, and they start with the lowest note name of the scale that you're in. So this case we're in D, so you'll start with the lowest D on the piano with your left hand. You'll use 5, 3, and 1. And then your right hand will come to the next all the way up the piano, and then you can also go all the way back down the piano. You can also hold the pedal while you do this. You can do several different things and make it kind of like your own pretty little song. But sometimes 2-octave arpeggios are harder for people with smaller hands or younger beginners. And so we do the hand-over-hand arpeggios as a modification. So you can do whichever one. Hand-over-hand is not in the Alfred book, though. Hand-over-hand is just written out on the shorthand for you as an alternative to 2-octave arpeggios. All right, so we have completely learned our D major scale theory. So we have learned our scale, our triads, our cadences, and our arpeggio. Okay, all right, so as always, feel free to rewind and re-watch as many times as you need to, pause, figure things out, write them down. If you are one of my piano students, you can message me and I will send you still copies of everything that I went over today. That way you can write them out on your own, which I always encourage you to do because it helps with memory. As well as I'd like to challenge you, like I've done in the other 2 videos, and make your own little song using what we've learned today: scales, triads, cadences, and arpeggios. You can use one, you can use them all, however you like to do. Just be creative. If you're a student of mine, please have someone video what you come up with and send it to me so that I can hear, and I'm excited to hear those and excited to see how creative you can be. And even if you aren't one of my students, I encourage you to do that, just to apply practical application of what we've learned, as well as you can use the previous 2 scales and scale theories that we've used to make a even bigger, broader song and even more creative piece. Just remember, if you're playing in the key of C, there's no sharps. Key of G is 1 sharp, F sharp, and key of D is 2 sharps, F sharp, and C sharp. So remember that whenever you're combining anything in there, that you have the correct sharps in your piece that you're doing. All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.